Good morning, everybody. We are going to start in about 2 minutes, but maybe I'd be allowed to just start with a little bit of a situation that happened this morning. About 8 o'clock, there was a press conference with Jim Campbell, who's the Senior Vice President of GM in charge of motorsports, and they used a quote that I thought was just amazing. It was from Steve McQueen when he was doing Le Mans, and the quote was, "For all of us, racing is everything." What happened before and what happens after, that's just time of waiting. So thank you all for coming. Racing's everything to us, and thanks for being part of our press conference. We're going to set a record here. It's 1 minute to 10 and we're starting. My name is John Waldy. I'm very honored that you'd come to our press conference for our RPM NHRA series for 2014. Very briefly, just a small bit of history. In 2012, Steve Matusik and I met with Tom Compton, the president of NHRA, Gary Darcy, their senior vice president. Tom is right now pounding the bricks in New York for sponsorship, and Gary's out in California. It was an amazing meeting for us. Tom said, this series is very important to NHRA. It's very important as we go forward. And he said, I want you, Steve, and John, to work with your committee, who I'm going to introduce to you. He said, I'm going to go out and we're going to get television, which they've done for us. NHRA pays a significant amount of money for television. And he said, this will be a first, but we're going to get that television. And thanks to Velocity and the Discovery Channel, we've done that. We have a 10-race series coming up. We're very, very pleased. And then Tom gave us some pretty homespun advice. He said, if you'll go out and get 7 races, which we've done in sponsorship, he said, we'll do 3. And then the other day on a conference call, he reminded us, I'd like you to do all 10 for 2015. However, he said, I want this series to go forward, to be part of our organization, and we're extremely pleased about that and very, very thankful. We have some people from NHRA that perhaps haven't shown up quite yet, or maybe they're at the very back. I'd just like to pay credit to one person, Charlie Nelson at NHRA, and it's something we don't talk enough about. Charlie, as of yesterday, had 53 contingency sponsors for us next year, 53. They're going to post over $300,000. So the money that, thanks to Ryan and Forward Sports Marketing and our group that we've raised, and Harry's going to speak about that with his national event. Over and above that is that contingency money. It's very important. And even our group that meets every single Friday on a conference call, sometimes we don't talk about it enough. So I want to thank NHRA for that. I'm going to immediately get into the press conference. We are going to have a question and answer period for you all. And then after that, we've got probably as cool a racer announcement to make involving Danny Rowe and Steve Matusik in the coming year. So that's sort of going to be the capsule to finalize it. Very briefly, we start in Gainesville, Florida, as you know. It's the start of our season in March. And I'm just going to, so I don't forget any major sponsors, very quickly go over this. The series, excuse me please, obviously involves television now. We believe it's the fastest, most unique door slammer race cars. We've got great muscle cars from the past, the Corvette, the Mustang, the Firebird, Camaro. But we also have the new generation, and this is what really was pleasing to Jim Campbell at GM this morning at our 8 o'clock seminar. He said, gosh, you've got 14 Camaros, we've got the possibility of a Corvette. He said, isn't it interesting that you embrace the entire spectrum? We're extremely pleased about the markets we're going to next year. We had quite a call with Tom and Graham Light, Gary, a week ago Tuesday. We're going to Atlanta. The reason for that was very specifically, they call it the House of Speed, because the first Charlotte race was 4 wide, and they want to make Pro Mod absolutely defined as far as we race them 2 at a time. So we're going to Atlanta, which is great. I mentioned Gainesville. I'd like to call Ryan Hawes up from Forward Sports Marketing. Ryan's been so instrumental as we go forward in fundraising and promotion of our series. It's just one of the neatest things the board ever did. So Ryan, I'd like you to talk, if you don't mind right now, about a major sponsor we have for 2 events. Tell us a little bit about that company. And those 2 events are the Englishtown race and also Charlotte number 2. Ryan?
Parent company is Offwire. The product is called Power Rocks. It's actually available now at JEGS, and beginning at the Pomona race last fall at the finals, these were available in the Nitro Mall. So it's a thing that's great for NHRA racers and fans that are out at the track all day. Literally, my battery ran out here at the show yesterday, and I was able to plug it in and keep going and using email and phone and everything. So Power Rocks is a product that's very hot on the market. They're one of the fastest growing companies in the U.S., and you see them getting into things like NHL, NBA, and you'll see them hopefully in a lot of other sports in the future. But they are very excited to be a part of the NHRA ProMod series.
Mike Knowles wasn't able to come today. However, Mike's a pretty amazing guy. And most of you know that he's very involved in our series. He's a member of our 6-man board. And Jim Whiteley, J&A, are joining us. Jim Whiteley is an amazing guy. He's a 2-time world champion. They are going to sponsor the Houston race. He assures us Annie's staying in the funny car. He assures us that his son Sean's coming over to race with us. So J&A Energy are going to do the Houston race for us. As we proceed in our series of races, etc., I'd like to bring Scott Woodruff forward now from JEGS. JEGS are going to sponsor the U.S. Nationals for us this year. The event sponsor for the whole race happens to be Chevrolet, which is a good thing for me and good thing for many of us. Jim Campbell was very strong in his recommitment to NHRA drag racing. And he was very, very interested in our series this morning. And Woody, just come forth for a minute. We just want to acknowledge, or if you're comfortable there, we acknowledge JEGS. Troy is on our board, as you all know. Precision Turbo is an amazing company. Harry's on our board. And Harry also is just going to say something about our accomplishments so far financially, but also they are going to sponsor the race in St. Louis as well. Harry, do you want a microphone or you want to just speak from there?
I just would like to thank everyone for coming today. I think this is such an exciting event that we can just talk about what's going to happen in the next 3 years and all the commitments that we've already had from race teams that are not only have races series for many years, but are now more and more interested. The reality is we're not sure if we're going to have enough spots for everyone to come race, so that they better get their job done and get it in there now, because come Gainesville, everyone's going to be fighting for those spots. I think it's the most exciting racing venue there is on the planet today, with different power adders, nitrous, turbos, blowers, racers switching from one power adder to another, switching over and learning, how to drive a different type of car. The fastest door slammers in the world are going to be racing on these venues at each and every race, and we're all going to be part of that. Being in this from the ground, looking forward, working on this for the last couple of years with these guys is more than amazing, and I'm just thankful to be here, to be part of it. So far, we've already raised $1 million, and there's so much more work to be done. But with everybody here just talking about it and being excited about it, I just can't wait to see what it's going to be next year. We got to do 3 more races next year. That's what they want us. I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think the real issue is how are we going to fit everyone into the racing. We've seen other venues come and go over the last 4 to 5 years, but how solid this program is, for what we've put together, there's nothing like it. And all the guys on the board that have worked so hard. Danny Rowe's going to speak in a minute. I just want to applaud them for all the efforts that they put into this program. It's simply amazing. It's a very humbling to be standing before you now just talking about it. We've got the race in St. Louis for this year. I don't know what next year is gonna bring, but we committed to 3 years. And I'm really looking forward to committing to more. And the TV show, and I don't know if it's gonna be a variety of TV. We don't know if this is gonna be, is it gonna be, come on, John, I mean,
We're pretty excited about the TV show. It's 60 million households or subscribers. It's 3 times what we were really expecting. Tom and Gary worked really hard on this and put it together in a pretty short time frame. And yes, it's right, it's reality. We think we got some great characters in Promod.
can you imagine what it's gonna be in reality TV with nitrous guys complaining about blower guys and blower guys going after the turbo guys and turbo guys just like going after everybody? I mean, so much respect is gonna come out of this for all the teams. And hopefully it's just gonna keep building. And with everyone's help out here, it's gonna happen. That's just where we're at. So thank you very much. Glad to be part of it.
Thank you, Harry. One of the other races I wanted to talk about just before we get to our final race, which is the race in Las Vegas, I wanted to just mention Bristol, Tennessee. And I got a pretty neat phone call on Tuesday night late. It wasn't late in California, but it was late in Canada from Graham. We talked about some really interesting concepts with you going forward, the fields and whatnot. I'll give you a example. At the U.S. Nationals this year, Graham really opened it up for us. He said, I'm going to give you 30 spots for Indianapolis. We only showed up with 24 cars. We had 3 cars withdraw. And at that particular point, a little bit of a joke, we were sitting in Danny's trailer with Graham and Tom Compton, and Tom looked at him and said, John told us by Charlotte 2 we'd have 27 on ground. We did. That was a good number. Graham countered by saying, that may be, but Tom, right now we've only got 9 entered for Charlotte 2. Anyway, we showed up with 27 cars, and Tom said, John told us we'd never have a car count issue again, and I forgot I'd said it. I couldn't remember when I'd said it, but glad Tom remembered. We're going to go forward. We realize right now, definitively, we have 67 teams that have come to us and said we're really interested in this series. However, of those teams, we have 33 committed to run 10 races. We have 11 that have said, in a wonderful way, drag racers are great people. They've said, we can't do 10 races. Some of those people have been racing with us and maybe can do 8 or 9. And the other 22 comprise pretty famous teams. Some of them race in categories like Top Fuel or Pro Stock. And they've said maybe 1 race a year, maybe 2 or 3 races a year, which is pretty encouraging, I think. Graham and I talked specifically about how to accommodate everybody possible. With that in mind, if you've got a car and are considering coming next year, I had a great talk with Billy and Shannon Glidden yesterday. They headed right to the NHRA booth to talk over with all the tech people. They're all here this weekend. Glenn is here, Tim is here, Clinton Sneed, who will be our new tech guy with us at every single race, replacing Jim Collins, who retired. They're really committed to the safety of our cars. So if you happen to be or know of a new team, get them to NHRA absolutely as soon as possible to get those cars checked. With that in mind, I'd like to open the meeting up to questions from the media or the racers specifically. And Danny and Steve and everybody will answer those and help me. Also, remember that we'll know officially the conference is over because we're going to end on a really neat note with Steve and Danny and Jesse making an Aeromotive, which is our sponsor for Las Vegas, Danny Rowe announcement. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to grab my glasses so I don't miss anybody. Let the questions come, and don't hesitate to direct them to this group. Bobby Bennett, you would think he might ask the first question.
Well, my question is directed to you as the point man spokesman for this group. ProMod started in the IHRA, then it drifted away to the various 8-mile series. All the while, NHRA was running in the middle of that. Did you ever think that you would see the day that NHRA would be the top dog place for ProMod?
Well, you know, maybe if I lost a little weight, I'd be a skinnier dog. I don't know, but we're really pleased, Bobby. And Tom made that commitment to Steve and I specifically at SEMA in 2012. He said, this has got to be something that we carry forth. They're very excited about the people, the TV package. They knew where we were. Harry said where we are right now. Ryan and I and the entire board feel You know, we've got good traction and good momentum, and we're just pleased, but it all comes back to the racers, the people in this room, and the people that have, you know, sweat equity in the class, like yourself, and the chassis builders and the engine builders. But we're very humbled, Bobby, and we're very honored to be in this position. And we just feel we've got, with your help, lots of things to do in the future. But yes, we're optimistic, and thank you very much for your kind words. Okay, Ian.
John, I know Velocity's going to carry the show, right?
Correct.
And that's great.
That's the Discovery Channel.
Yeah.
And, you know, this might help. Our buddy Jim Lukens, that's been writing articles for National Dragster, came up with a pretty neat deal about Velocity. Coverage of the races will air on the Discovery Network, Velocity Channel. It launched this past October. It features the best in automotive, sports, leisure, travel programming. It will be produced by Masters Entertainment, who we know who is, out of Bristol, Tennessee. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it. And I loved what Harry said about the people. And it's the only class, Pro Mod, that has 3 power adders. David Rear said to me last week, don't change anything. Well, the rules are NHRA's, as are the venues. But I thought that was neat for a guy like David to get really excited and talk about it, you know. So we're very, very pleased, Ian. Did I answer your question okay?
No, I was going to ask. I know it's going to run like 10 consecutive weeks
Correct.
or something, but do you know when it's going to start?
Yes.
After the season, and what day, time it's going to run?
Car dealers don't listen well sometimes. They get too excited, you know. Yes, we do know. What Velocity and Discovery Channel recommended to NHRA, and therefore ourselves, is they said, let's run this in the sweeps. Let's do it when we're looking for the biggest possible reaction we could get in coverage. The sweeps lead up, ironically, to Las Vegas. So what I understand now is they're going to run it every single week for 10 weeks solid leading up to the sweeps, which coincidentally are Las Vegas. So they're going to run it in the fall of the year or late summer, early fall, but they think it's really important to run it every single week.
Do we know day and time yet?
We do not. Thanks, Ian. Great questions. Bobby?
I got a tough question here. I knew you were gonna.
Well, look that way then.
Obviously, everybody in this class has made this class what I believe to be one of the best show classes out here. Now, what's it going to take? I know you guys are doing a lot. What steps are you guys taking to make this on even footing as Pro Stock Bike and Pro Stock, and not just a class that supposedly buys their way into the show?
You know, that's really good. I'm going to quote you something, Bobby. You have to be careful what you ask for. You may very well get it. And I mean our group. You know, as family people, as business people, TJ's here, you know, Troy Jr. with us today, and Troy, of course, is on our board. And we talked about this. We think 10 races right now, 14, 15, and 16, 3 years, more sponsorship, more television, professionalism, you know, in our class is the answer. Going forward, I would be very foolish to not admit to you and look you right in the eye and say, yes, NHRA have said to us, you know, how many more races or what can we do going forward? You run into some logistics. You run into things like 3 races in a row. I don't know if we're ready for 3 races in a row, but certainly the bike people have been really great. Eddie Krawick, Byron Hines, Andrew, and whatnot, and recommending to us what they've experienced in that class that does 16. Will we ever become 24? I don't think so, because I genuinely don't think we want to do 24. But certainly we're working towards that, and we've been very well received by NHRA, and it's a great question. It's not a tough question, it's reality, and it's what the passion of motorsports, and specifically this class, is all about. Do we have any more? Oh, from the back.
Does this have to be just questions, or can it be a comment?
Oh, it can be anything, Billy.
Well, I'm pretty outspoken, so my opinion is you want to make this something that's more than what Bobby just asked. You watch golf. You got a guy who is a self-contracted person. And this guy can go out, and as long as he shows up for the Pro-Am on Wednesday, he can play. You know, if he can get entered, as we are all trying to do here guy gets in here and he wins a major golf tournament of some sort, he's going to win somewhere between $1 million and $1.7 million. It just depends on what the tournament title is. You want us to look better than all the rest of them and to have all these people pay attention? Pay the racers. Make it big purses. Make it that we are racing for a lot of money, not just so we can get on Velocity TV. And I believe that puts us at the front.
Those are really neat comments, and every day Ryan is really good to all of us. You know, we meet, as I said, every week, and every week he said, okay guys, you know, keep them rolling. And thanks to the members of the board and all their business connections, we've learned so much this year about relationships we have that are really special to us we didn't think about. We had 7 or 8 sponsors that we're talking to, that Ryan is still talking with, that are just varied, Billy. They come from different walks of life. We had a chicken company. Who would have thought of that? But that was something Mike Castellana, through his supermarkets and then his buying group of 500, somebody said, we really like ProMod. So all those type of relationships we're really working hard on. Ryan's company is just amazing. Every single day and every single week. And your dream or vision, just like your dad's before, in case anybody didn't know, it was Billy Glidden that asked that question. It's the same. You're right. And I really appreciate you mentioning that and appreciating our opportunity to recommit as we go forward. Do we have any more questions? I have somebody I want to introduce from the back of the room. You always like introducing somebody from the back of the room, but do we have any more questions? I'm really keen to get to this Roe Matusik deal too. I want you to know that. Okay, in the back of the room is Mike Janis Jr. And Mike and I have a list from Gainesville last year, handwritten, with everybody at Gainesville that was racing with us. It was a great race. And also we have emails and whatnot. And then we've added to that list, thanks to Mike, the 67 teams. So if you don't mind, on your way out, Mike's going to be sitting with a young lady here at the door. Just check in with Mike and make sure we've got a current cell number and we got an email for you. So through Mike that does the emails for our board and myself, that we can contact you with developments in very short order. And if we don't have any further questions, I'm going to ask Jesse, representing Aeromotive, Steve, a racer, and Danny Rowe, perhaps sort of the ultimate racer in our group, just to come forward and make a pretty neat presentation. Let's get up here, you guys.
Very, very much. Jesse says I gotta stay. Well, that's cool.
Is anybody hot in here?
No,
It's kind of warm. I'm kind of hot, so I'm gonna.
Let me tell you, it's cold outside. It got hotter in here. Danny Rowe. Jesse, what's it been like at Aeromotive the last few days?
Everything's short but uninteresting. Before I jump into it, the one thing I want to say first of all is thank you guys, all of you, for coming. It means a great deal to all of us. There's a lot of people that put a lot of hard work into both this series and the future of this series of drag racing. It means the world to us to see all you here. I also want to thank a lot of the media for coming out. Without your support and your encouragement, I don't know if we would have gotten to where we are. You know, I see Bobby and Randy from Competition Plus and Johnny D back there and Brett Underwood and you know, the Mongoose and Pete Ward from Drag Racer and I think I saw Jeff White from Performance Business. I mean, you guys, you really give us what we need to keep pushing forward. A lot of us, you know, John alluded to it, are business owners and you know, we do this because there's an unbridled passion for drag racing, and we're going to show up one way or the other. But it's also somewhat justified because you give us the exposure that we need for our businesses, for personally, and we're looking for exposure and opportunities to grow. And so without you guys, I don't know if we'd be here today. So we appreciate that very much. The other thing I want to say is, obviously, he beat me to the punch. Yeah, he did a little bit. I worked so hard on it. No, obviously, we're very excited. As Steve's understudy, I'm extremely excited. He's going to be giving up the turbos this year, and the hair dryers and exchanging it for a blower. And he's going to be driving.
My new best friend, I gotta learn how to drive one of those cars. He's the only one that's driven all of them.
And that's what I keep telling him. I say the safety net's
What are you
off,
doing for lunch?
Steve. No, teaming up. Steve,
Don't listen to him.
Steve and Danny teaming up just makes a ton of sense. It's really exciting. Steve is going to be driving the second car for Danny Rowe Racing, a 68, blown alcohol supercharged Camaro.
Whatever that is.
Yeah. So with Agave Tequila and Aeromotive, and we're very excited. And we thank you again for coming. And I'll turn it over to Steve if you want to say something.
This is just great. Incidentally, if anybody didn't know, because he's in the front row, it was Todd Tutterow.
He's giving credit to or blaming?
What have you got me into, Todd? I got to remind you that Turbo Car was the #1 qualifier in the first race. Hardly the last race. But quietly, I was parked by Todd, and I said, you got to race Kevin first round. He's number 16, and this is Las Vegas. Todd said, yeah. He said, who would you bet on, John? I said, I don't know how to tell you, Todd. I bet on Kevin. Todd turned around, and Denise was there. And, yeah, Todd said, I bet on Kevin, too. Go for it, Steve.
On that note, I hope you can experience and feel the passion, the commitment of this group. I mean, Harry, I hate following Harry because he's very good at what he does, very good speaker, but we all echo that. I mean, we appreciate all of you being in the room. We're very excited. We're committed. Billy, yeah, that's our goal. I mean, if we can get these people in this audience to spread the word and promote us, hopefully the dollars will come. And that's our goal, is we want to make this a real class. We want to make it sustainable. And we're very excited about it. As far as the deal with Danny and I'm going to teach him how to cut a light, and he's going to teach me how to drive a blower car. As you can see, there's, we're still, that's the class, so we get
We're just working out where he actually has to put a parachute. He hasn't been past 100 feet for a while.
I gave him that yesterday.
When that happens.
Save that for velocity.
But we're very excited. I mean, it's giving my company, Aeromotive, an opportunity to learn about this type of a power adder. Hopefully we can bring some new products to the market to do this. Jegs can sell them, and we all benefit from it. And that's how we operate. We're a very applications-minded company. I'm really looking forward to learning something new, even at the ripe old age of,
Old.
32.
Old 32. But we're very excited. We really appreciate everybody coming here, and we're really looking forward to next year. The work isn't done, but at least we're in the game, and that was our goal, is to get in the game, get to this point where we could make this announcement, get some momentum, and hopefully this time next year, it's that much bigger, and that's our goal, and we're going to work hard to achieve it. So thank you for everybody coming, and it's going to be a great year.
I'm going to close up with a little bit of a word. This year, you may know that Danny Rowe and Jimmy Rector received the Steve Engel Award, which is for passion in our sport, in the Pro Mod category. Also want to thank Roger Richards. Roger does an incredible job with photography, and Mike's new mob car, which is probably the most standing of all. But I'm going to quote Jimmy Rector when he got up to accept that Steve Engel Award with he and Danny. Jimmy just looked all out at the audience, and he said, thanks. Thanks for being here, everybody.
That's it.